What's up, my mother Jeffers, and welcome to the Ringside Power Hour podcast, where the opinions are never biased. The facts will leave you in a crippler crossface, and when our mics go up, so our mouths won't shut. I am a quarter of your host, the badass flapjack of podcatching. Scratch it, Jeff, call me Double J, make sure you chant, hey, JJ.
And I am that hair metal hellraiser himself, the man who makes college students across America turn into Niagara Falls. And little Debbie from Sunset Strip, if you're listening, the doctor said it was not contagious. It was just dry ranch dressing. That's right. Ringside's resident rock star himself, Hollywood Michael Paul.
Let the church say amen. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Reverend Everett Hall McNeil back in the pastor's pulpit. Preach.
And finally, the man who makes it red panties night across the world. The reason your girl can't sleep at night. The voice who makes her clothes fall off. The suplex samurai, Dale Wynn.
And we got a very special guest with us on Ringside today. That's right, the Z-Man himself, Brian Zane from Wrestling With Wregret. Brian, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, and I can't follow any of that. Those are a lot of great intros. I do not have the fire right now.
Do you have any Zananites out there? Is that your shtick? Do you have some Zananites?
It's actually the term is Zaniacs, actually.
Oh, Zaniacs.
Zaniacs.
Yeah,
I like
that
it.
kind of went by the wayside after I stopped wrestling, and now when you're a heel manager, you don't really try and get a fan base, not intentionally at least.
Yeah.
But now I have my regretters. That's any of my fan base.
When you wrestled, what was your wrestling style? Were you a heel or face, or did you kind of go in between?
It was a jobber deluxe. That was my wrestling style. Was just get my ass kicked and look at the lights. I was pretty much a face, but I flirted with heelism for this one fed I worked for in Oregon for a couple of shows. But I think, it was just one of those things where I just wanted to do something on my own, and that wasn't exactly what the booker wanted. It was just, for the most part, I was just kind of a face, but I was also faceless, to put it a certain way, because I was just a body to get beat up because I wasn't that good.
Are you Zack Ryder?
Well, Zack Ryder, I can't lace his boots, man. He's, he's sitting pretty. He may be jobbing out a lot, but he's a well-paid jobber.
You actually got a video when your match is up on the on your channel, don't you?
Yeah, that one's not canon, though. That one doesn't count. I posted it up there a couple of years ago. It's kind of a thing I needed to fill a week with. And it's like, well, I got this old match that, it's not technically, it's technically the first match I ever wrestled, but I don't count it because it was for this, crappy, technically it was kind of a bar fed or a backyard fed, but they were working this outdoor show. And there's a long, complicated story that I talk about in the video when I do my commentary for it. But, long story short, I'm not very proud of it. I just kind of want to post it up there for a laugh. And so my real first match actually, in about a week, it's the 10-year anniversary of my very first official match, not the one that's on YouTube, though. So I'm almost about to celebrate 10 years in the business.
Oh, wow.
That's what's up.
That's 10 years more than us right now, so.
Mm-hmm.
We tried the whole promotion thing.
That went to hell. But anyway, let's get to these rumors. The first rumor that we have heard is Triple H's contract expiring before WrestleMania 32. Now, we all know Triple H is a big-time player. He has been a big-time player for the last 20 years in WWE.
Well,
What's your thoughts?
To be specific, that's his wrestling contract.
Yeah, his talent contract,
his
not
talent
his company
contract.
Yeah, because he's on the books for next year for like $3.1 million, so he's not going anywhere.
What is your take on that, Brian?
Well, that's news to me, and honestly, I think, did they say when it's going to expire?
They said before WrestleMania 32. There was a date, but I don't have the date. I'm honestly not sure. It may have been a month before or something of the sort.
Obviously he's not a full-time wrestler anymore. I don't know specifically what the arrangement is. I know with Shane McMahon, he's not getting paid any kind. He's not like a performer technically. He's not under any kind of specific performer or executive contract. So, I think with Triple H, I'm sure what will happen is he won't officially be a wrestler anymore, but, he'll get the executive pay, and then he'll pick up the extra PO for if he ever has to do any wrestling, So, I don't think it's, that rumor to me sounds almost kind of like a clickbaity thing, but, I don't think anything's really going to happen with that.
I really don't
it's
think it
going to
matters.
be. He's not leaving, basically.
Yeah,
Well, he's not
I
leaving,
agree.
and I think his contract kind of includes him wrestling because he's got a lot of slashes behind his name, talent, in charge of this, in charge of that. I mean, he's one of the higher paid executives too. So.
I mean, NXT is pretty much his project at this
Right.
point.
Yep.
So
Exactly. I mean, yeah, he's not going away, but I mean, I think obviously his role as a wrestler is greatly diminished in the last couple of years. So it's very interesting as far as the contract thing goes. But I don't think he's going to sign a new one. But I don't think he's going to be missing out on any money either.
He's still a big time player. It's just behind the ring now.
I mean, the fans actually want to cheer him. Like I heard that they pumped in boos for his segment against Roman Reigns.
Yeah, for
I
his
mean,
promo, they added in booze on SmackDown.
I don't know how true it is. You know, obviously it's like you said, clickbait. Clickbait can get you a lot of things. So
Well, I mean, the talent wise for gimmick, like people who can actually get on the microphone and speak, is so like limited. Of course, you want Triple H back.
Right.
He can actually perform in a ring and talk. I mean, that's unheard of.
yeah, that's true.
I mean, that died with Cena.
I wouldn't go that far.
Pretty much.
Well, keep in mind,
that far.
keep in mind, Triple H is also one of the few people who's allowed to go off script. So
That's 100% true.
Yeah, there's only a few.
But you're on live
People.
TV, so who can stop you too?
Yeah, but at the same time, I mean, if you go off script,
If
you
it
know,
works,
one too many
guess what?
times, you're gonna get bitched
If it
at.
works, you're golden. If it doesn't work, well, you're screwed.
Cena said it the best in his podcast on the Stone Cold podcast. He said that take more chances. He said that's what he did. He said he got a ton of heat for some of the shit that he used to do. But what can they do? They're going to have to cancel your contract, which means they're still going to have to pay you. And not only are they going to cancel your contract, but that means that other promotions are looking at you like, all right, this kid may have something or he may not. So it really depends on what kind of chance you're taking. If you're taking a terrible chance and you're going out there and yelling pussy or something, of course it's not going to go well. But if it becomes entertaining, like CM Punk with the pipe bomb,
I mean, you can
There
even
you
go all
go.
the way back to Austin 316. Like, I mean, that was a hit or miss thing.
What about The Rock? The Rock went totally off script and it worked. When he was on script, he was a nobody. When he finally went off script, he became The Rock. You have to take the chance on yourself.
Yeah, but do you really think guys of this era are really going to take the chance of getting?
no, that's the point.
They're afraid to.
That's the
They're
point.
afraid to.
Well,
You
Big
wanna know
Show-
why? Because it's the fear of the authority.
I mean,
and I'm
look what
not talking
happened
about the on-screen character either.
Look what happened to Brad Maddox. What was it? A live event. He went out there and said
Yeah.
pricks and got fired for it.
But he called the fans pricks.
Right, but that was his character. He was a heel. He was egotistical.
Them days are gone, man.
That's what I'm saying.
Can't
he
call
took the
the
chance
fans
and got
pricks
fired
anymore.
for it.
I mean, you technically get cheered as a heel nowadays, so that's telling you a lot about your baby faces.
Because there are no heels.
So, Brian, so they introduced the Roadblock. Or is this called the Roadblock?
I think it's Roadblock.
Just Roadblock?
It was March to WrestleMania.
So, do you think that the WrestleMania main event is somehow going to change again because of this pay-per-view?
You know, the whole concept of Roadblock really excites and confuses me, I guess is the best way to say it, because I don't understand why they're trying to cram what is essentially an extra pay-per-view in between Fastlane and WrestleMania. I think that's a bit of oversaturation. I don't think they need to do that. Anything they want to do is, if they do want to change the playing field for the main event, they could do it on a Raw, which would do two things. It would make Raw more interesting to watch, and it would also accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. But no, they're trying to save it all for the network views, basically. You know, and I've been thinking about it too. I mean, I've been trying. I don't want to get my hopes up with anything because I have no idea if the status quo is going to be restored or not. But you know, maybe at some point they've decided, well, what if they decide to give Dean Ambrose the championship and then swap things around with Lesnar and Roman Reigns and all that stuff? I think this would be the time to do it if they're going to do it. It's basically, I think what's going to happen ultimately is, you know, Triple H is going to go over and, just get more heat on him, and it's supposed to make Roman Reigns look better because to avenge his friend, which is dumb, and we've learned in the last year that has not worked ever for him. My only problem is if he does lose, then it's going to make him look even weaker when he inevitably loses to Lesnar at WrestleMania, because I don't think he's going to win that.
He shouldn't.
So
There's no way he should win.
it's very unfortunate, that one person has to suffer so much. I hate to sound like a fanboy, I try not to put myself in a position to do that, but it's like it's very similar to what happened with Daniel Bryan a couple of years ago. You really root for him because through all the ineptitude of creative, this person has stood out above the rest as being the most over guy.
Mm-hmm.
So, you've got to do something with him. And I think it'd be very exciting and very interesting for a last-minute title change leading into WrestleMania that might switch things up.
Now,
But I don't know that. That's why I don't do a whole lot of fantasy booking or or do a lot of predicting, because I'm often wrong, and I don't want to get my hopes up. So I just kind of sit back and I take it very passively and I see what happens.
do you think at some point they're going to do something? Because everybody at this point is thinking, they're going to be predictable WWE booking. They're probably going to have Ambrose lose, Roman Reigns will probably end up being the main event anyway. But let's say that they decide, okay, we're going to shake things up a bit to make this interesting and get butts and seats. Have Roman Reigns screw Triple H out of the title. Dean Ambrose wins. Somehow, some way, you make it a triple threat match.
Why does it have to be Dean Ambrose, Roman Reigns, and Triple H in that period? Why is Brock Lesnar not the champion? Brock Lesnar brings prestige to the belt. Yes, we know Brock Lesnar is a part-timer, but you don't have to have the belt defended every freaking month anyway. What other title in the world is defended that much?
I think the Intercontinental Championship should be in a main event picture, honestly.
The Intercontinental title does need more prestige to it. It used to mean a lot back in the day. It was your stepping stone to the world title.
It was.
Well, you got to put it on the guy that's got to bring that prestige back. Look at John Cena with the U.S. Championship. I'm not a big John Cena fan, but look what he did.
Kevin Owens could bring prestige back to that U.S. title if you'd book him right.
He's IC champion, and he's losing to Dean Ambrose, who was supposedly 50% on SmackDown. That's what they were booking him as. Like, he was hurt, he was sore, he can't walk right, but he still defeated one of Indy's biggest wrestlers.
Look at the booking period. Dean Ambrose basically spent since Fastlane getting his ass kicked. That's the only thing we've seen out of him, is being able to take an ass whooping.
Right. I think they're trying to make him more of the underdog character to get him over more.
Kevin Owens has probably won maybe 2 matches since, I don't know, Royal Rumble maybe.
But this is your
Before
guy
then?
you brought in. You had him beat Cena his first night and all that, and now he's just losing.
He had an amazing build-up. Like, when he defeated Cena, nobody seen it coming. None of us seen it coming.
Everybody thought Owens was going
I
to
was shocked.
How did you not see that coming? It was so supposed to be unpredictable that it was predictable.
You saw
My bad. If it's okay to talk or to interject with something here, what they've done this past week with Dean Ambrose, they kind of they neutered him. They totally destroyed him with Triple H on the mic last week, basically saying, "Well, it's like he told him, you don't mean anything, you don't matter anything. It's really just supposed to be down to Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar." It really taking the piss out of him. And then when Triple H beat him up, I get why he's doing it, but he shouldn't have to do it. Triple H shouldn't have to be dominant, beat up a guy, because we know who he is. We know he's the best. The fact everything he's been doing would be fine if he were a wrestler kind of in his first couple of years being in the main event, but that's just not the case now. And what we've seen in the last couple of weeks is Triple H has single-handedly kicked the ass of 2 members of the Shield when just 2 years ago he needed Evolution to reform in order to fight the Shield, and they lost each time. So I don't know what happened or what supplements Triple H has been taking since then, but I just don't understand the way they've been booking this. The fact that Triple H has been booked, I made a point of this when he won the Rumble to win the title. They're totally missing an opportunity to put him over as, oh my God, he's evil incarnate. Look at him abusing his power to take the title off of Roman Reigns. And they're not doing that. They're not building him up as a bad guy. Even his promos are somewhat sympathetic, or they're somewhat badass enough to take him as believe him as a believable wrestler. But he's not. Obviously he can still work, but he is so past his prime, and he's so not full time anymore. How are we supposed to believe any of this?
See, I don't know if that's even true neither, because I haven't seen him wrestle in I don't know how long it's been. So I really couldn't tell you if he still has it or doesn't have it. I know his mic skills are still good.
He wrestled Daniel Bryan. Then
it was
Sting.
A year ago, wasn't it?
Sting.
He wrestled Sting last year.
Sting last year.
I don't count anything. I don't count anything with Sting.
Oh my gosh!
All right, let's not get into that. But
yeah, please.
You're right to a sense. Like you said, his promos are more of I'm a badass. Remember me for who I am, not the fucking fact that yes, I am your boss. And And they have the perfect thing of I can abuse power. I may not be as technically great as I used to be, but my power can still get me to that point. And I think they really dropped the ball with that. I think it would have been more interesting, even though I will go on record and say I'm not a Dean Ambrose fan at all. But I think it would have been more interesting if he would have won the Royal Rumble instead of Roman Reigns and Triple H, because that would have threw a big fucking curveball.
Yep, easily.
What do you think, a curveball that
Well,
can throw
I think with Roadblock, this is a final chance to throw a curveball in. Because I don't want to get my hopes up, but my fantasy booking for what happens here is that Roman Reigns or Brock Lesnar or somebody costs Triple H the title. Dean Ambrose wins, and then what happens is they have the friend versus friend, the brothers match for the main event. Because I think about a year ago, everyone was kind of hoping that the main event for WrestleMania would be the Shield in a triple threat match for the title. Obviously, that can't happen, but what they could do is have Dean win the title, hold it for 3 weeks, I guess, and then that would be a chance for Roman Reigns to turn heel during the match, because he'd be technically face-face, but they'd cheer Ambrose more by default at WrestleMania. Roman Reigns officially turns heel, which, I've argued in the past that that's not necessarily the solution with Cena to get him more, responded to appropriately. But I think with Reigns, now there's no other way. At this point, they're not going to be able to get him over. That time has passed. So as a face, so make him a heel. Complete the circle. Make him turn heel. He wins the championship that way. And you automatically make 2 new main event stars in Ambrose and Reigns that are believable. The one you want to boo and one you want to cheer.
Well, you just made Mike's day. Mike has been crying for a Dean Ambrose main event at WrestleMania. That is like his dream matchup.
I personally, I do not think that Dean Ambrose is WrestleMania, sell 100,000 people good. Honestly, I really don't. I think that, yes, he is average good. Like, his moves do not excite me. He has a really unrealistic clothesline. And I get it's fake sports wrestling, but the clothesline, it just kind of throws everything off. He does a suicide dive, with pretty much 90% of the wrestling locker room does. And yes, he has the dirty deeds, which is technically the double arm DDT. But like, nothing about the guy really excites me to the point, like, his promos are good. I'll say they're good, but do they really build you to want to watch a match? Like, does his promos, to you, in your opinion, Brian, do they make you want to go, all right? And I know this is a very, very hard comparison, but do you think he's on the same par with Triple H or The Rock or Stone Cold Steve Austin?
The thing is, Dean Ambrose, to me, the matchup of Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns, to me, excites me a whole lot more than Triple H and Roman Reigns.
I agree.
I think that Triple H can get a good match at a Roman Reigns, but what I'm looking at is how it's all going to be received, because we're supposed to buy Triple H as a super bad guy, and Roman Reigns as good incarnate, but neither of them are being booked that way, and they're not being received that way by the fans. So you're failing in both of those ways. So why not have Reigns and Ambrose fight? I mean, they fought once before in the main event of Survivor Series for the title. They had that, but why don't you just have it again now that one of them does have a title? Dean Ambrose has finally come top of the mountain after being screwed so often in the last 2 years and villains. Let him get his time. So he's got that going for him. He's going to main event WrestleMania, and there's Roman Reigns and their brothers. And we're just going to, lay it all on the line. And
I think this is a good chance for Dean Ambrose to get a test run. Like, I agree. I think that he should win the belt at Roadblock somehow, some way. Don't get me wrong when I say that. I think that it's a good test run to see really how people are going to take to him. But if Brock Lesnar, in my opinion, is not put in this main event somehow, I honestly don't think that WrestleMania is going to do the ratings that they should.
I don't think you can have a Roman Reigns, Dean Ambrose WrestleMania main event and sell 100,000 tickets. I don't think you can. I mean, yeah, the wrestling fans are going to watch, but are you going to bring in a casual person, the person who would go to WrestleMania just to go to WrestleMania because, hey, the Brock is wrestling or the Rock is there or Stone Cold is there? I mean, Dean Ambrose doesn't move the meter. Roman Reigns doesn't move the meter neither.
So you think one way or another, Lesnar needs to be in that match, the main event.
I think if you want to sell 100,000 tickets, Brock Lesnar has to be in the match. Brock
Lesnar's
Lesnar
box office, man.
transcends the WWE. Brock Lesnar is a known commodity throughout all of sports. He's in pop culture. Dean Ambrose and Roman Reigns is not pop culture. That doesn't sell 100,000 people.
So I know
True,
that.
But Daniel Bryan in the main event, WrestleMania 30, that did pretty well for him.
Yeah, that wouldn't have made 100,000 people neither, though.
Look, I'm a big Daniel Bryan fan.
Oh, I'm a huge Daniel Bryan fan.
I love Daniel Bryan. Like, to me, like the whole story, I would have liked to see Daniel Bryan versus Brock Lesnar. I know realistically you probably can't sell it, but the big ultimate underdog story versus the fucking probably the most unstoppable force in the WWE. Like,
so we've actually
honestly
talked about this, and I actually said you could make this work because you can make Daniel Bryan do a quick roll-up pin that would make it believable for Daniel Bryan to get a win over Brock Lesnar. Now, out of 100 times, would he ever beat Brock Lesnar?
You can transition Brock for the fact that he has Paul Heyman into anything. He could be a heel, he could be a face, he could be intermediate, he could be anything that you want him to be just for one reason, and that's Paul fucking Heyman.
Yep, that's the beauty of it.
That's the beauty of it.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it.
Now I know that you interviewed Jim Cornette, correct, Brian?
Yes, I did.
And I know you guys talked about Brock a little bit. What is his take on Brock Lesnar?
Well, I mean, I think from what I've talked about briefly with him about it, and what I've heard in interviews, I mean, Lesnar's a hell of an athlete. I think he'll say that he's one of the best. He's he's probably the most popular wrestler right now, like you said, and he's definitely one of the greatest natural athletes. I think it's just an issue. I think maybe he had some heat with him for a brief time at OVW over something he did with with his wife Finn. I think it was a slam taken a little too stiff, basically. That's what I heard. Yeah. But I think Cornette will put Lesnar over as a wrestler, any day of the week.
In case you fans don't know what Brock did to his wife Sin, she got a piercing down below, and Brock decided to give her a little squeeze.
Wow. Well,
now we're on the subject of Heyman, Cornette managers. Brian, do you think managers should make a comeback in this era of wrestling?
I think managers can make sense and they can work well, but they have to be done in a way to, let me say this again. Let me start my sentence again. Sorry about that. I think managers have a place in wrestling still. I think they do have a place in WWE. When you see guys like Heyman and Zeb Coulter used in that position,
and Ric Flair now.
Yep.
And Ric Flair, exactly. I think, there is a place for it and it works. I only wish that they would give openings for managers to people who haven't been in the business for 30 plus years, like your Hammons and your Flairs and your Coulters. Like, that's the common thread now with managers, is that they're all people who are legends in the business, and obviously it's good to give them work, but why not have younger people? Why not have people who are relatively fresh in the business? I'm not trying to make a pitch for myself to get hired or anything. I'm just saying there's a place in wrestling, there's a place in WWE for younger managers, and we've seen it a little bit in the past. We saw it when Abraham Washington for a bit before he made a Kobe Bryant joke and they fired him. We saw it a bit with Armando Estrada before he got more over than Umaga and they split them up.
I was going to say, what about Lana? Lana has been wasted.
Lana, back before she became a damsel in distress, was a very good manager. There's definitely a place for it, but I think that there is a place for it. I wish they used them more. I don't necessarily agree with just, let's give a manager to a guy who's, not really doing anything. Because, I think you have to have a long-term goal when you put a manager with a wrestler, or at least some kind of idea of where you want to go with it. I think just doing it randomly, which is happened to me a few times in the indies, just like, let's give Zane one of these new guys, and not do anything with him again. It can be done. I just think it needs to be done to make sense. And I think that if the wrestler can succeed, if the wrestler gets more over because of the manager, then that's great. That happened to Lesnar, happened to Rusev. I think it can be done.
Cesaro needs a manager, and I think you can take that dude to different heights.
I think a lot of guys will manage to go to different heights because I think a lot of the problems nowadays is mic skills, and not really like they'll have wrestling talent, wrestling in ring skills and stuff, but their mic skills are really limited. So if you give them a mouthpiece, they could go further. Like Dolph Ziggler. I mean, I think Dolph Ziggler would be a lot better if he had a manager. I mean, he has no mic skills, but in the ring, he's good.
He also has that terrible nostalgia problem too.
Well, that's creative for you. What do you want? They've been trying to replace Shawn Michaels.
His ring gear with the Motley Crue logo is not creative. That is him simply
stolen,
doing him. But
speaking of people who may or may not need a manager, we have AJ Styles, who recently, has made a good. He's not the awful one.
He's the phenomenal
You're gonna stop
one.
that blasphemy.
The awful one.
I'll tell you
I
that
don't know
right
why
now.
you hate guys under 6 foot, Dale.
That is definitely
I got a
not true.
Napoleon
I gotta
complex,
keep saying
man.
it.
That is definitely not true.
Anyway, Jericho and AJ have now been formed as a tag team, but there is speculations running rampant right now. So we just want your thoughts about that, Brian Zane.
What do you think is going to come from it? Is basically the question.
AJ Styles turns heel and turns on Jericho, and then becomes irrelevant.
See, that
because
wouldn't
he has
make no
mic
sense.
skills.
No, I think the way it's been built and the way it's been scripted in promos, the only thing that will happen is that on Monday night, Chris Jericho will turn on AJ Styles. He'll go full-fledged heel because they hinted a little bit during the rivalry, and now I think Jericho has been totally swung the other direction in terms of like, oh yeah, AJ Styles, woo, and like he's setting him up, and that's what's going to happen. So on Monday night he's going to turn on AJ, and it's going to set up their final encounter or whatever at WrestleMania, which will be good.
I got a quick thought for you. Do you think the Bulletproof is going to somehow, or Bullet Club, whatever they're calling them, I don't know what they're calling them in WWE, but do you think the Bullet Club is going to make an appearance or somehow get worked into this feud?
Maybe, but I don't think it's going to be treated with as much pomp and circumstance as a lot of fans expect. I think it kind of reminds me of when AJ and Shinsuke Nakamura first got signed, and the rest of Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson, where it's like, okay, like at number 30, AJ Styles is like, his music, his New Japan music is going to play, and he's going to destroy everyone and win the title. It's like, no, it's not going to be treated that dramatically because there's a building process with that. Like, you can't use your indie mentality and your Heyman mentality to like put that in, and all of a sudden, you can't put all the egos aside and say, oh, AJ Styles is just going to be just the way he was, in the indies. Like, no, that doesn't happen in WWE. So I think people are going to put a little too much stock into when the Bullet Club members do show up. They're not going to do a big lights go out and Bullet Club on the Titantron, like, oh my god, and the announcers are they're not going to go, oh my god, it's a Bullet Club. Like, that's not going to happen. Like,
do you think that AJ may turn heel before Jericho?
I don't think so.
I think it makes more sense for AJ to turn heel.
It makes no sense considering he just debuted and got a big pop.
So why do you have to worry about pop? He'll have the pop anyway.
He's over. He's a babyface like right now. That'd be a little bit like, I don't see the point of him turning heel. That's just me.
No, and I think he still has a lot of mileage with his faceness since he just debuted, and he's got a reputation preceding him as AJ Styles.
Yeah.
We know he can be a heel. As Mini Flair, he wasn't that good in my opinion, but we know he can be a heel as himself.
I thought that was the only time he was actually watchable.
Oh, Jesus.
Well. So, I mean, it can be done. I don't think it's going to happen here. I think it's going to be Jericho turning on AJ, unless, maybe they're going to swerve us on Monday because, it's one of those things where it's like when they know, even when they know something they're going to do is too predictable, they always try and do a swerve just to stick it to the fans who could see it coming a mile away. So maybe AJ will turn. I kind of doubt it because there's not a lot of motivation in doing that when AJ won the rubber match. Like, he got the last laugh in their rivalry. He won, 2 out of 3 matches. So I don't see a reason for him to turn heel. Logistically, Jericho turning heel makes a lot more sense because he had to submit. And like I said in my fasting review, you can count on one hand in the last 8 years or so the number of times Jericho's tapped out. I know he's done it recently. He tapped CM Punk at WrestleMania when they fought, but that's the last time I can think of. That was 4-5 years ago at this point. So I think it's a big deal that he lost the third match to Styles, so he's going to be coming for revenge.
I agree almost 100%. I mean, it does make sense from the yes, he lost and he wants, you know what I mean? He's going to get pissed off. Kind of like the thing with Shawn Michaels. Remember the WrestleMania match and he gave him the hug and he respected him and then he kicked him right in his nuts? I mean that's pretty much the same way I see it. But speaking of AJ Styles, TNA is up for sale. Do you think WWE is going to take over?
No, and let me tell you why. Now, when you think about when they bought WCW, they bought WCW for $2.5 million, no more than $3 million. I forget the exact figure. Dixie Carter is going to want a lot more than $2.5 million for TNA, and WWE is not going to spend that. When they didn't spend more than $3 million for WCW, they're not going to spend that much for TNA. And the big reason is, and I'm trying to formulate a video for a future episode or argument for a future episode about this, so it's a bit of a spoiler into my creative process, but one of the big reasons you can never have like a Monday Night War again, you can never have competition that actually puts pressure on WWE again, is because no promotion has a built-in fan base like WCW did when they went to prime time, because WCW was formed from the ashes of the southeastern territories in the U.S., which had several decades of combined lineage and history behind them. So you had the built-in fan base. So they had all the history. That's the thing. When WCW was bought out by WWE, they bought all the history. They pretty much have the history of the NWA on lockdown, even though the NWA is technically still a thing. So, but the NWA doesn't have, TNA doesn't have that. TNA does not have the history, does not have the lineage. Even during their brief flirtation with the NWA for a while, that doesn't really count. It doesn't really line up with their history in a way. So I just don't think. I mean, somebody will buy TNA. It's not going to be WWE.
I don't think Dixie Carter really has much of a choice right now because she's out of shows. Period.
Yeah. They did their last show the other day.
Her deal with Pop is just for barter. They needed a show to put on, and she needed to be on TV, so she's not getting anything from there. All their money is from distribution money from overseas. So right now, there's no more events for TNA. So if there's no more events, that means she can't make money. If she can't make money, she has no choice.
That being said, I just don't think Vince is going to buy it.
I don't think Vince is going to buy it because I don't think it's worth it.
I don't think he can afford it.
Right, and not only that, even if he did buy it,
he
would definitely afford it. He's a certified billionaire. But
he used to be a billionaire.
He would be left with the same issue that he had when he bought WCW. You've got this boatload of new guys you don't really have room for.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing I agree with. Because a lot of them guys would not be in WWE roster material.
Maybe Ethan Carter III, but
God no.
I
don't know
about
that guy. I mean, I heard he was in WWE for a stint, but people didn't like him because of his
they probably
attitude.
fired him because he sucks.
I agree with you. I don't think she's selling for anything probably less than $2 million unless her hand is forced.
I don't think she has a choice in the matter because
$20 in a pack of cigarettes.
I'm telling you, that's what it might end up going for.
Let me ask you this, Brian. If you think that Vince did buy WWE, is there anybody on the talent roster, or bought TNA rather? If there's anybody on the talent roster of TNA that could benefit going to WWE?
I'm sure there's people. I'm sure that if it came down to that, and if WWE bought TNA, there would be a few people that they would cherry pick to bring back, just bring into the company. Like off the top of my head, EC3, because he's one of their biggest guys. Maybe the Hardys, but I kind of doubt it.
Not with their history with Vince.
I mean, yeah. Although Jeff, I think, can always come back because he is a guaranteed draw.
He's a draw,
He's marketable.
Even though Matt's doing really well for himself now as a heel, I think I haven't really watched a lot of this stuff, but from what I've read, I think he's kind of in the midst of a kind of a career renaissance because just of what he's doing as a heel champion. But there's a few people that he would probably sign, but again,
Bobby
I don't
Lashley
think
being one of them. I think
Lashley was really the only thing I think that would make sense because then you have somebody to feud with Brock Lesnar, somebody who's actually legit enough to actually wrestle Brock Lesnar. Would be Bobby Lashley.
Why have Bobby Lashley when you've already got Roman Reigns? He is
honestly, Roman Reigns couldn't hold Bobby Lashley's jock. I mean, let's be serious. Bobby Lashley's a real athlete.
What about Kurt Angle?
And Bobby Lashley, and conversely, Bobby Lashley couldn't hold Lesnar's jock.
That's true, but they're basically the same size.
I mean, they got similar background. Is basically where he's getting at. I mean, they're both NCAA champions.
They both
Brock has
MMA.
had more MMA success than Bobby Lashley to the T, and he's also had more professional wrestling success. So, I mean, if you think about it, like, yeah, maybe Roman Reigns can hold the dude's jock, but is Bobby Lashley a bigger star as Brock Lesnar? I don't think so, but I think it would make for a good feud.
What about Kurt Angle?
Kurt Angle's free agent anyway. He already did his last match for TNA.
With Kurt Angle, I mean, I'd love to see him back. I don't think he can pass a physical at this
I
point.
agree.
I
His
think
neck is destroyed.
Not only is age a factor, and I know that age isn't a huge hurdle anymore when it comes to like Stein and back legends, but his age is a factor. His health issues have been a factor. Considering that, like, considering they let him leave his contract. Presumably because they were concerned for his health. And of course, I think it was the case of Angle duping them so he could go to TNA to work a lighter schedule. But, that was a big reason they let him go, was because they didn't want him to become like Chris Benoit or Eddie Guerrero. I don't think that's going to change, especially if he works anything more rigorous of a schedule than what he worked in TNA.
Well, there was a rumor going around. I don't know how big of a rumor it is. I think he may actually said it in an interview. But he said that he would like to come back and manage Chad Gable and Jason Jordan. They call themselves American Alpha.
Yep.
Do you think that would be a good work for him?
I think Team Angle, it'd be fine. It has to be a thing where Gable and I'm sorry, I was totally spacing their guy's name. American Alphas.
American Alpha. Jason Jordan. I forget his name too.
Thank you. But they were like, I think once they moved to the main roster, I think Angle and NXT as a manager would be kind of wasted on him, or he would be wasted on them. On NXT,
I think
it would have
main roster,
yeah.
I think you bring him with the main roster.
Yeah, so I mean, that could work. But it's just one of those things where, it's like Angle maybe gets used sparingly as a wrestler in the occasional six-man. That could work. I just don't see him doing full-time stuff anymore at this point. I just don't think he's physically going to be allowed to do it just because of what WWE, the concerns over people's health has shown.
Well, let me ask you this. I know he's supposed to be at WrestleCon in Dallas. Do you think he's going to make a Mania appearance?
Maybe. I wouldn't put it past them to do that. And speaking of which, I will also be at WrestleCon. So this is the same place as Kurt Angle. So, buy your tickets now. But I mean, it could happen. I mean, there's a lot of people who are at WrestleMania or WrestleCon this year. Like Shawn Michaels is going to be there. Plenty of people are going to be there. So I mean, anything could happen. Any of these people could show. I could be at WrestleMania. You don't know.
I think Mysterio is going to be there too, right?
I think he is.
Mysterio is going to be there. Yep.
Matt and
a lot of Lucha Underground guys.
Matt and Jeff. Oh God.
Yeah, Matt and Jeff are going to be there.
So we're going to get into our weekly review. Did you want to stick around and talk a little bit about Raw, or did you want to hop off?
It's kind of out of my wheelhouse. I didn't really watch Raw, so I can't really.
You didn't miss much, bud.
You didn't miss anything.
You ain't missed
It was
much.
typical booking.
It was a travesty, is what it was.
Stephanie cut a good promo.
The high
a
point of the
flashback
week
episode.
is Austin Aries in NXT. That's the high point of the week, in my opinion. So I mean, Raw.
I didn't watch it, but I'll take your word for it.
Yeah, I mean, if you get a chance to it, I mean, Austin Aries made an appearance. He immediately got a feud. I mean, it's
Baron Corbin rushed in and attacked them, which is great booking for Baron Corbin.
It was so great. It was sold pretty good. I think he kind of botched one of the moves because he actually ran into the ring. Like when he threw him into the ring, he actually like went head first up, and like his back, you could hear his back just crack against the ring so hard, and I haven't heard that in a long time.
Well, I'll have to watch it. But yeah, I mean, now I wish I could join you for the Raw review. I mean, I told you a little bit about what I read and the facts with Triple H being put way too strongly over. But that's my only real knowledge.
Well, Raw was 3 hours of flashing back to Shane McMahon from the week prior, so nobody missed anything.
It's true. I mean, Undertaker had an appearance.
He said one thing.
Basically pulling a Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah.
Why I'm here.
I'm here, so I don't get fined.
I'm going to rape your son at WrestleMania.
What the
Which is the dumbest thing because of course it is.
I mean, all right. Do you think
that was dumb too? Because of course the blood's going to be on Vince's hands. That's the point. Vince is sending Undertaker to kill Shane. Why? It's like there's no explanation. There's no like Vince holding anything over Undertaker. There's no hesitation on the part of the Undertaker.
I know how
Just the
big of
way
a fan of this you are. Do you think that he's going to crucify him? He's going to put him on the cross?
No, I don't think he's going to crucify him.
No?
That's not going to happen.
Do you think someone's going to run in on Shane's behalf at Mania?
Maybe John Cena, maybe Sting. We don't know.
It's not going to be
I think it's going to be Sting.
Sting's ship is sealed.
I think it's
Honestly,
gonna be Sting.
I think it's going to be Sting, and then Sting gets paralyzed for life, and I never have to watch him on TV
Yeah,
ever
because
again.
Sting hasn't even had surgery for his neck. What are they going to do? Wheel him out there when
Exactly.
the lights go out?
Then I'll never have to see him again. Great.
And not to mention, he hasn't even won a match, so why would you even book him against The Undertaker?
Hey, but he's going to the Hall of Fame.
I
Hey,
think-
Sting versus Undertaker, when healthy, if Sting was healthy, would be money.
Like
it
in
doesn't
10
matter how
years
old they
ago?
are.
10 years
It'd be
ago?
money.
I would be
It would be
fine.
money. It wouldn't be good, but it'd be money.
Oh, it's a great booking.
It'd be awful.
Don't get me wrong.
But it wouldn't be as great as it
Any
would be
match
in
with Sting is
97 or
awful.
99.
If they did that in 97 and 98, that'd be perfect. But I'm saying it's still money. If they
Even
booked it.
2004, when The Undertaker first came back as the Dead Man, even 2004 you could have did Sting. Fuck, even 2008 you could have did Sting versus Undertaker. 2016, not so much.
Once WCW got sold, to me, the whole Sting Undertaker thing was over with. Sting had his chance. He could have went to WWE, but he was upset. He took his ball home, and he went to freaking TNA. It's his fault.
See, in my opinion, I have a serious problem with Sting's nostalgia. I don't know if you've ever seen The Crow, but that's basically his gimmick.
Well, yeah.
Well,
I don't
to
get-
the T is the gimmick.
It's to the T, and I don't get how he could get over with a gimmick that's pretty much not even his.
Well, I mean, it hasn't stopped him since '97. So.
I agree. Hey, and people get behind it. They really do. They love it. I don't know. To my opinion, Sting's gimmick is not too, it's not too perfect to me, in my opinion. But yeah, let's talk about Raw. What we open up with.
Well, I mean, that
We opened
with that
up the-
With that being said,
with that, I probably should get going because, like I said, I don't know much. I don't know about the rest of Raw to really make a comment, but I do want to say thanks for having me on the show.
No problem. Thanks for coming on.
Big thanks. Why don't you go ahead and tell
Yeah,
our fans where they can find you at?
Well, my channel is Wrestling With Regret, where I talk about some of the strangest and the stupidest things in wrestling history. And that's on YouTube, and the regret has a W in front of it. WWW is the acronym. So you can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Facebook, Wrestling With Regret, Twitter, @ZMan Brian Zane. The YouTube channel, that's exciting because I'm coming really close to 100,000 subscribers.
Congratulations.
Which is good.
Congratulations and good
Congrats.
luck, man. We hope you get to it.
Thank you. Yeah, actually, if it all times out, that might come out the same day as my 10-year anniversary, so that'd be kind of a cool day. But not only that, also, if anyone's going to be in Dallas for WrestleMania weekend, I will be at WrestleCon at the Downtown Hyatt Regency in downtown Dallas. Friday and Saturday before WrestleMania, I will have guests at my table. Friday, I will have Sabu with me. Saturday, I will have Lucha Underground star Brian Cage. So, and of course, I'll be there, and I'll be selling my shirts and signing autographs and stuff and doing pictures, and they'll be there too. And if you want to go to WrestleCon.com, you can find out all the information about all who's going to be there. I could never list all the people who are going to be there, but the amount of names who are going to be at WrestleCon, it's a stupid, impressive list. So, if you're going to be in Dallas, you owe it to yourself to come to the convention. I think you'll get a better deal for yourself doing that than, say, fan access. If you have time for both, great, but because it's a 2-day event for WrestleCon. But I'll be there at WrestleCon. I'll have a booth, and I'll be giving out swag and selling shirts, and I'll have guests with me. So it's going to be a really cool time. I hope everyone can meet me there.
I know you always end your videos with this. Where can our fans find your shirts?
Yeah, that's right. Buy the T-shirts at ProWrestlingTees.com/Wrestling With Regret. I have 4 styles right now, and yeah, I think Pro Wrestling Tees is a great service if you can get it. So I'm really happy with the shirts and the feedback on them so far. So yeah, that's all my stuff to plug.
before we let you go, I was wondering, are you a UFC fan?
Am I a UFC fan?
Yes.
I like the idea of UFC. I haven't really taken a lot of time to watch it. I have a respect for MMA. I don't agree with the MMA fanboys who want to rag on wrestling, and I've made that pretty clear.
I totally
in my
agree. As a
show.
matter of fact, I'm in the process of writing an article about why MMA fans are ridiculous about their hatred for pro wrestling, considering that they come from the same thing. Without one, you couldn't have the other.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, but no, I mean, I won't be watching the fight tonight.
Well, that was what I was trying to get to. If you were watching, what was your prediction?
I don't know. I mean, if we learn anything from Ronda Rousey, no one is unbeatable, and Conor McGregor can talk a lot of smack. I think it might be one of those fluke things where Diaz pulls out the win tonight, but I wouldn't be surprised if McGregor held on to the belt. I think it's one of those things where McGregor's got to hit first and hit fast, because and it's one of those things that if you watch their little interview, their satellite thing, where on the split screen cussing each other out. McGregor's going to have to knock Diaz out because Diaz will keep fighting.
I agree, and hopefully he knocks him straight the fuck out. Well, thank you for calling in, and we will definitely be in Dallas, so we'll try to hook up with you, and you have a good night.
All right, you too. Thanks for having me on.
No problem.
Thank you.
Take care.
That was...
Well, I mean, the whole Conor McGregor thing, yeah, Diaz is going to he's going to keep punching and whatever, but we'll get to that later. Let's get into this weekly review.
And now it's time for the weekly review.
He told you last week, don't do that.
I'm still doing it. Damn it.
How's the Bible
The
on tape
preacher's
selling?
allowed to do whatever he wants, okay?
Thank you.
He blesses this show weekly.
Amen.
He sent demons to my house.
Well,
That
after the
wasn't
shit
me.
you pulled
That
with
was
him,
you.
They ate my
Whoa,
chinchillas.
whoa. After the dirty shit you pulled with him,
Whoa,
you
this
know what?
isn't Jerry Springer now.
He should have sent mad demons to your house.
Don't worry. Karma's a bitch, and her name was Kelsey.
Whoa, that was horrible. But ladies, if you're out there and you're listening,
And
'cause
here
I know
you go.
are.
Here we go with the PSA.
My name is Hollywood Michael Paul. Don't forget it, because Niagara Falls is coming out of your pants right now. You can go to www.okcupid.com, www.plentyoffish.com. My name is the same one there. I'm plugging myself. I can plug you tonight. Just get me at me later.
Okay. Moving on. We
At least he
had
still has
the
his hand.
Quickly.
I'm at a
weekly
lotion.
review over a very, very horrific Raw, ladies and gentlemen. It opened up with Dean Ambrose and Triple H cutting a promo, and Dean, I guess, trying to punk out Triple H to ask for a title match in the coming weeks.
I thought it was a decent promo. I mean, I thought it was something different, I guess, but it still kind of ended with the Authority still being in it.
I thought it was a repeat of the SmackDown and Raw from the week prior. So basically, all of Fastlane didn't mean anything. Dean Ambrose gets a title shot
I mean, if you're
before Roman Reigns, and Brock Lesnar still left in the dark with freaking Bray Wyatt. Yay.
regarding this Raw in general, I mean, if this is your Raw that's supposed to start building up to WrestleMania, it was horrible.
Well, apparently it's your Raw building you up to Roadblock.
I think this was
Next.
a Raw building up to Chicago, if you ask me, because Chicago's going to be lit next week.
Why Roadblock? Last year you did the Elimination Chamber. Why not do that
Next.
again?
Next.
I couldn't tell
Anyway,
you.
we had Sasha Banks versus Becky Lynch, which ended in the most horrific looking sunset flip double pin I've ever seen in my life. It just looked awkward to me.
I mean, we basically learned that it led to be a triple threat match at WrestleMania. So
Which we all had already said was
fine,
going to
terrible
happen.
terrible spot in the
Which
match.
Paige
Yeah,
should
that
be
was.
in. Paige, get your ass off of goddamn Superstars and main event. Stop defying authority. It's not going to work. And we'll never have babies if you're stuck on the mid card. I don't feel like claiming bankruptcy anymore.
She ain't having babies
Go
with your
make
dumb ass,
your
that's for
money.
sure.
Make your money.
what you're
Come
talking
over
about.
to the States. Stay with me. Let me plug you like I plug
my
my profiles.
God.
I'll do it all night long. and after we're done,
Jesus
we'll go to
Christ.
7-Eleven. We'll get some
Hey,
taquitos.
Doug.
Maybe
Hey,
a
Doug,
bagel.
cut his
I
mic
will
off.
love you forever.
Cut his mic off, Doug.
And you guys will stay in his parents' basement. Amen.
Jesus
No, I'm
Christ.
moving up. I'm getting a trailer.
Oh, shit.
Oh, he upgraded.
Oh,
Moving
man.
on up.
He ain't the Jeffersons. The Jeffersons actually had a part.
Can we get to this bullshit review? Because Raw sucked and I'm tired of talking.
Bro, I'm trying to get to the UFC
Anyway,
thing, so.
The Miz defeated Dolph Ziggler via roll up. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Ziggler defeated
Hated
the Miz
it.
in a roll up. Yeah.
How about we talk about NXT?
Yeah, let's just talk about NXT. That was actually.
All right, guys, if you're listening, Raw pretty much sucked. Dean Ambrose got his ass whipped at the end, so I'm pretty happy about
But
that.
he still got a title
Shades
shot.
of what he did to Roman Reigns, but no blood. Raw pretty much was terrible.
Well-
I like Undertaker showing up, but
3
it
hours
still
of 3 hours of
fucking sucked.
flashback.
I mean, we
Pretty
made the
much.
comparison. You made a comparison too. The Becky Lynch Sasha ending was mirror to Sami Zayn and Samoa
It
Joe.
was pretty mirror to it, yeah.
Dude, that Sasha Banks Becky Lynch match was horrible.
Let me
that
fall
was
down and knock
botch
myself
city.
Now NXT.
Now their NXT match was pretty
Hello.
good, and actually their SmackDown match from this week was really
No,
good.
yeah.
But that Raw match,
I don't know what happened. That chemistry was off.
they dialed it in for that one.
Anyway,
I mean, the match might have been rushed because I did read saying that the opening segment went over, so they rushed the Ziggler match and they might have rushed the Banks match.
Yeah. So we had to freaking listen to Triple H say the same promo from Thursday. Okay, moving on.
Anyway, NXT, we had the Vaudevillains defeat Hugo Knox and Tucker Knight.
Let me tell you something. I think taking the Vaudevillains back to being heels is the best way to go.
I don't know. I don't like the gimmick. I mean, I know that they got a little bit of popularity and they're good workers. They're just the gimmick don't fit, and I don't know. I mean, there's really not much to say about it. It was a good match. I can give them that. I mean, they were pretty much defeating a jobbing team. So what more can you say other than it was decent?
All right.
Next.
What's
Then
next on
we
the card?
had Dana Brooke and Emma tell Alex that they'll make an example out of
Oh my
someone
God,
tonight.
that girl is hideous.
I think she's pretty good looking. She got cheekbones. I like cheekbones.
Well, you do like them like 250 and above.
Those
She
are
may
double
be in
cheekbones.
that.
Dana Brooke. You're no Page. I'm sorry. Never mind.
I was ready to say, don't start that shit.
Next,
Then we had a replay of security footage between a beatdown of Enzo Amore that leads to promos from the arrival of Zoe and Cast and the announcement of there's a
repeat,
title match.
like you said.
They already showed it.
Okay.
It's a repeat. I mean, it was a good promo. I liked it, but at this point, what more can you do but other than put the belts on them and let them go to the main roster?
Let's get to the biggest part of the
okay,
night.
look. Let me sum up all of wrestling for this whole week.
Austin Aries.
Austin Aries made his debut, got beat up by Baron Corbin. Great.
Oh, let's talk
Raw
about
sucked. SmackDown was better. Why Morrow and Jerry Lawler is not doing Raw is beyond me because Michael Cole doesn't know the difference between a wrist lock and a wrist watch.
And JBL does not know what sport he's watching.
You better
Ever.
watch it.
Ever.
Here's how Jack to get you.
He'll talk about old school football. We'll be like, JBL, you are at a pro wrestling event. What are you doing?
JBL don't even know where he's at, so
Right.
It's
I
a
think
shame,
he's still in the
'cause
APA
JBL
gimmick. I
Hello,
think he's
Detroit.
drunk the whole time.
It day drank for a long time.
It's a shame because JBL used to be good. I think like
JBL was
between
never good.
2007 he was decent with Michael Cole, but this right here, I mean, good God. I mean, it's like,
Anything
dude,
that
stick
you have
to
to say
one
with Michael
sport.
Cole being good just doesn't make sense.
All right. What's next?
I guess the final verdict is this week for wrestling was not that great.
Okay,
If you're
let me
gonna
ask
watch
you-
anything
let
from
me-
this week, watch NXT.
Let me ask you this. Did you think the Finn Balor Neville match was good, at least?
No.
I think, well, he's biased, but Neville and
You don't
Finn
like Finn
Balor
Balor. You don't
put
like any short
on
person.
an
Oh, I didn't like
amazing-
Neville either, so.
Put on an amazing match. So I don't know what he's talking about.
How Samoa
right,
Joe's
look.
not champion NXT is beyond me.
Speaking of not Neville, Finn Balor, do you think when the Bullet Club, whatever, comes in, do you think they're going to be with Balor or Styles?
I
They
think
have, they have T-shirts out saying "Bulletproof Baylor Club,"
Finn
so they
Balor
are going to be
introduced
with him.
his new gear, and
Right.
it had bulletproof on the back of his thing. So I don't know.
Which Finn Balor is the original leader, but
I actually
They are-
think this
they're
is
gonna
your
pull
chance to bring Finn Balor to the main roster.
Exactly.
he doesn't want to go.
Well, I understand, but you put him under AJ Styles.
That was months ago, but if you put him as the leader of this new faction, he'll
not as the
stand
leader.
out.
All these other
You
guys
put
you
him
brought
under
up from
AJ
NXT.
That's other guys. This is Finn Balor. That's Triple H's.
They said the same thing about Kevin Owens. This is Kevin Owens.
What's Finn? What's Finn Balor? What's special?
What's special?
He's Finn Balor. Woohoo!
His gimmick, for one, the demon gimmick, has
Okay.
captivated fans. His wrestling prowess. He's
Okay.
traveled all over the world, including Japan. You gonna sit there and tell me he's not marketable?
He's Triple
all
A
this
talent,
dude
man.
needs is a mouthpiece.
As Kevin Owens and Neville,
Triple
and
A
look at
talent.
them on the main roster. Look where they are.
I
This
think
is Finn
Once
Balor.
they get out from under Triple H, and
I
they're
think
on
you
the main
bring him
roster.
up to be under AJ Styles as in the Bullet Club. AJ Styles, the
Whether
leader.
y'all know
with
it or
Finn
not,
Balor.
Finn Balor is going to be in the next couple of years in WWE. He's going to be a high-profile star in WWE.
I'll eat your shoe
in
if
my
that happens.
opinion.
All right,
How
all
about
this
that?
said, how would you guys rate this week in wrestling?
Shitty.
0.5.
I can agree with you.
I give the whole week a 2 stars, but if you're talking
SmackDown,
individual,
hey,
I give Raw.
SmackDown was good.
I give Raw a 1 star.
NXT,
The New Day,
no.
NXT a 3-star.
Can we
NXT was
can we
decent.
bump the ratings up a little bit more because at least New Day was on and New Day does what they do, which is
But
great.
The only reason you like the New
can't-
Day is because they have great cereal.
New Day can't save a fucking show. I'm sorry.
Not a 3-hour show.
I'm not saying they could save a show, but at least that their segments are on point.
Well, speaking of segments, we're getting into another segment we introduced last week. And basically what it is, it's called Off the Ropes. It's where we go off a topic of wrestling and we talk about other things, UFC or whatever's going on in the world. And speaking of today, we got Conor McGregor versus Diaz coming up tonight. So what are you guys' thoughts on that?
I can't wait.
you're talking about two guys who have great mic skills that can shit talk with the best of them.
Well, I actually don't think Diaz is a good shit talker
Look,
anymore. Not after watching that
Nate
bullshit.
Diaz
that he
is
pulled. I
not
don't
Nick
give a
Diaz,
fuck.
but
Oh, no fucks.
he's still pretty good.
Here's my problem with Nick Diaz. If you sound
Nate
like
Diaz.
a dope fiend, you need to retire because you taking one too many shots to the head. I'm sorry.
They called me. I answered my phone. Give a fuck. That's all he kept saying.
Coming
Like, who
Exactly.
gives a fuck? He's about to knock you the fuck out.
I'm just coming in as, getting started with the UFC thing, and you used to talk to me all the time about Conor McGregor and his shit talking, and then when you showed me it, it's unbelievable.
Ali.
He
Yes.
is, yes, he
This
is.
dude,
Yes, Ali-esque.
this dude can cut promos better than most people on the main roster at WWE right now.
You think Finch should sign him?
Well,
I
he's
think
way
he's
too
cutting
small. He's
promos
only
better than
100
everybody on the main
170
roster. You know why? Because he's real.
Yeah,
Over Paul Heyman.
That's where
Paul Heyman-
me and Jeff definitely agree.
Paul Heyman's real, but he's still cutting a fake promo.
Conor McGregor, everything he
McGregor.
says is real. You know why? Because he's freaking a prophet. He goes out there and makes it happen. When he knocks people out and he calls it, that's for real. When he knocked out Aldo in 13 seconds and told you exactly how he was going to do it, that's real.
Okay, who do you guys got winning tonight?
Well, of course, Conor
Conor
McGregor.
McGregor.
And you guys got
We got Misha Tate versus
Exactly.
Holly Holm.
I mean, Holly Holm's probably just going to wipe the fucking floor with her. You don't beat Ronda Rousey like it's nothing, and then fucking somebody else beat you. I'm
Well,
sorry.
not to mention Ronda Rousey destroyed Misha Tate twice. Then
Twice.
I don't know how Misha even got a title shot, to tell you the truth. I guess, look, they needed somebody to fill the card, and Misha cries enough, and she's she's hideous, but, with makeup, she's almost, you can look at her.
Here's my thing, right? Like, yes, she's a great kickboxer, but Ronda Rousey didn't exploit her actual fucking talent. She tried to box her. Like, why are you trying to box a fucking a fucking champion kickboxer? Like, you're judo. Fucking do judo. I don't give a fuck what it's
I
called.
agree. And look, and a lot of that was her coach, man. Her coach is the one who told her, "Hey, why don't we just? Hey, you're doing great. Keep standing up with her. Keep standing up with her." Her coach from the get should have freaking went double leg takedown, single leg takedown. Don't freaking stop. Keep going for the takedown.
Yep. Lock that fucking armbar in and win your title.
Let's get the
back.
fuck out of here. Because let me tell you, her standing up with a freaking kickboxing champ. Actually, not just a kickbox. She was a boxing champ first.
Yeah.
So her stand-up skills are elite. You're talking elite stand-up skills, and you're a judo player, and you want to stand up with that girl with your I don't know what her stance was. It was
Yeah. That was her
god-awful.
hopping around and fucking pointing at the sky like she was doing the yes chant.
So who do you got winning?
Holly Holm by knockout.
Holly Holm by fucking knockout.
And with that, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the Ringside Power Hour podcast. We just want to plug some social media. You can follow us on YouTube at Ringside Power Hour. You can also visit us at our website, ringsidepowerhour.com, and also on Facebook /Ringside Power Hour. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to thank you for listening. Until next week.
And ladies, yes, that is the picture of the real me, the suplex samurai, and that.
Oh, yes. On the gram, ladies and gentlemen, on our Instagram at Ringside Power Hour, you can catch all the behind-the-scenes photos and exclusives.
And with that said, like, comment, subscribe, and another big thanks to Brian Zane for guest starring with us today.
Yes, thank you for that. And we will be going to WrestleMania. So if any of you people are at WrestleMania, look us up and let's link the fuck up. Let's turn the fuck up and let's watch wrestling.
Paige, if you're at WrestleMania, you can
Don't
turn
listen
up
to
with
me.
Shut
me.
your dumb ass
I
up.
love you.
This has been the Ringside Power Hour podcast.
Copyright. Well, anyway, everybody, we out. Fuck you.
See ya.